Welcome to the second episode of Our World with Norman Busigu. Now, the premise of this show is quite simple. I'm going to report on and explore important topics affecting real people like you and me. Now, within this, there are two aims. Firstly, to have a positive social impact, and secondly, to inform. In this episode, I find myself at the Welsh Harp, aka the Brent Reservoir in northwest London, a vibrant natural environment comprising of fields and waters. Now, in this episode, I'll be exploring the importance of such natural environments, but also why they're coming increasingly under threat, and why they're coming under threat can have a negative impact upon the real lives of people like you and me. With topics such as global warming and climate change on the tip of everyone's tongues, this topic has never been more important. So stay tuned because you don't want to miss this. So before I delve into this large topic, I think it'll be very helpful for me to provide some context as to where exactly I am and what the Welsh Harp is. The Welsh Harp is a 340-acre nature reserve centred on the 125-acre Brent Reservoir, situated between Kingsbury and West Hendon. This oasis of sorts has origins which date back to the 1830s. Now, this green space isn't a rarity, but rather, it's very likely that one like this exists closer than you think to your very home. Why? Because London has 35,000 acres of public green spaces. This is equivalent to 40% of its surface area, making it one of the greenest cities of its size in the world. London's green spaces help to improve the lives of its residents in various ways, as well as in providing a significant draw for visitors. To gain a true appreciation for fields such as this, I think it's very important we take a step back in time to gain a true understanding of the historical significance that these fields have played in the lives of individuals throughout time. So, let's imagine ourselves back in these fields in the 19th century. Let's imagine that the year is 1850. The Welsh Harp was an incredibly popular location, in particular with day trippers, given the wide variety of events and functions that were happening, from ice skating in the winter to swimming competitions in waters like these in the summer, from boxing competitions to horse racing. Believe it or not, the popularity of the Welsh Harp was so high that at one point it was referred to in song as the jolliest place on earth. Now, let's not forget the presence of pubs and boat rental services that would have been a great stimulus for the local economy in northwest London, given the creation of jobs, the providing of services, and the increased tourism through the day trippers that would have increased the flow of money in the community. Now, in 1950, the Welsh Harp and the land around it was designated a site of special scientific interest. Why? Because its open waters and associated habitats homed a large selection of wetland birds and plants, in essence housing the biodiversity of local wildlife, important for the sustained growth of this ecosystem. In 1972, the Welsh Harp Conservation Group was established to help look after the reservoir and the areas around it, showing further interest in protecting this block of land. Fast forward to the 21st century, and the Welsh Harp has a new kind of benefit, one which is educational, and that's thanks to the Welsh Harp Environmental Education Centre, just behind me over here. In 2013, Centre Manager Harry Mackey expressed that the centre will be great for school children in particular, as it will give them exposure to the outdoor classroom environment. Now, onto the main issue of this episode. Why is it that natural spaces like these are coming increasingly under threat, and why is it in our interest to protect them? Between 2009 and 2012, there was an abundant building on open spaces in London. Between those years, 216 hectares of open space and land was lost to development, particularly from housing and mixed-use sites. In 2015, a satellite survey by the research team at the University of Leicester found that between 2006 and 2012, 54,000 acres of green space was converted to artificial surfaces, mostly housing. That's a landscape twice the size of Liverpool, transformed forever in just 6 years. So, according to data from the Office for National Statistics, the population of London is projected to grow by 8.8% by the year 2026. Now, this is likely to cause an increase in demand for housing and accommodation to meet all of these new people coming to the City of London. This might lead to an increase in urbanisation and the encroaching of natural open spaces for mixed sites, and also the building of housing and accommodation, which is bad for the preservation and conservation of environments such as this. So, having explored some reasons as to why natural environments like these are coming under threat, now let's explore some key reasons as to why it's in our interest to protect these environments and how it can benefit real people like you and me. So my first reason, health, well-being and communal activity. At the heart of many major cities, you will find a vibrant green environment, from Centennial Park in Sydney to Central Park in New York, and London is no exception to this, with Hyde Park, the Botanical Gardens and Sky Gardens, just to name a few. Now, having vibrant green environments protected in any major city or in any environment is very beneficial for real people like you and me, for several reasons. Firstly, they're environments where people can exercise. Secondly, they're great spaces for social cohesion where individuals can meet and engage in communal or recreational activities. And thirdly, having lush green aesthetics is a great relief and a great prompt for positive mental health. Now, although London's air often appears clear to the naked eye, the city has suffered from illegal levels of air pollution since 2010, with particularly dangerous levels of nitrogen dioxide, which comes from mainly diesel products. So protecting and enhancing green spaces is very significant in the fight against air pollution. And so, the presence of trees and vegetation, like all of this great green stuff around me, is very important in the battle against air pollution, as it can help to remove pollutants and harmful emissions that are in the air and the environment. Now, another reason why it's beneficial to protect natural environments in green spaces like these is because of cost efficiencies. Now, London's green spaces can make cities less costly to run through building up ecosystem assets, lowering costs due to reduced risks and improved air and water quality, and reducing urban heat and island effects, and thereby allowing investment in other areas to stimulate economies and attracting further investment. And so, that concludes this episode of Our World with Norman Busigu. In this episode, I've explored the importance of such natural environments, and I've used the Welsh Harp as a springboard to explore these ideas. I've also run through some important reasons as to why it's beneficial for all people like you and me to protect such environments. Until the next episode, stay safe and stay tuned.